Hi everyone, and welcome to the Frank Tufano News Channel. I'm your host, Vegan Gains, and I have a breaking story for you today. Frank Tufano did another oopsie. So for those of you who haven't been following this ongoing and developing news story, Frank has recently started posting fitness content to his YouTube channel, giving workout advice. And not so surprisingly, his advice is absolutely atrocious. Not only is his advice completely counterintuitive to building muscle, getting stronger, he recommends only training with very light weights, avoiding compound exercises, and sticking with isolation movements, but his technique is so bad that it's actually dangerous, and I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up seriously hurting himself. Now, of course, Frank received a ton of criticism, not only from me and other YouTubers, but even his own dedicated fans. They totally railed on him in the comments section, they massively downvoted his videos, and rather than just taking the L, cutting his losses, and never making any more fitness videos ever again, no, Frank refused to admit he was wrong, he stood his ground, and on October 3rd, he uploaded this video devising a plan to prove all the haters wrong.
I guess this is what this has come to. You boys and girls are going to get what you've wanted, or perhaps what I've wanted. I spent a lot of time thinking last night about the pros and cons of getting back into bodybuilding, lifting weights to prove my intelligence and understanding of hypertrophy. I'm always trying to do whatever is going to put me in a position to improve the health and lives of as many people as possible. And if appealing to you fairy muscle boys is what I have to do to get, more followers and help more people, that's what I'm going to do. I'm also disappointed that I spent 8 years lifting weights consistently and didn't capitalize on it. I don't have a physique at this point in time that allows me to showcase what I've learned. So you guys might want to get a second job because you're going to be writing me a fat ass check in 6 months.
So you hear that? Frank is going to prove all the haters wrong. He's going to go to the gym, pack on some serious muscle, and prove to everyone that he actually knows a thing or two about weight training. Well, unfortunately, it seems that those plans have fallen through because only 2 days later, Frank uploaded this whiny video where he made excuse after excuse for why either he can't go to the gym and train or he doesn't want to go to the gym and train. And also notice how when I screen captured this, the video was unlisted. So Frank actually unlisted this video not long after it was uploaded because he realized it is extremely embarrassing and he probably doesn't want too many people seeing it. But I guess Frank didn't understand the difference between unlisting a video and privating a video. If you only have a video unlisted, anybody with the link can still view it. So people like Michelle Lowe uploaded response videos circulating this really embarrassing video of Frank. And after Frank realized this, he privated the video, so you can no longer go to Frank's channel and watch it. But fortunately, I downloaded it. It's on my computer, so we're going to go through it, rebut some of Frank's claims, and just have a good laugh.
Some of you may remember I had some stomach issues related to Candida last year that have been on and off, usually being exacerbated by several lifestyle stressors. I hit my head last week and haven't been sleeping so well.
So I'm seeing a little bit of a contradiction here. So Frank is saying that, oh, last week I hit my head, oh, last year I had some digestive issues and it's still bothering me, so oh, my head hurts, my tummy hurts, I can't get over it. Well, Frank also claimed in this video that being on the carnivore diet allows him to heal like Wolverine.
Look how quickly my acne cleared up. Just one day, guys, because I heal like Wolverine on this diet.
So isn't that funny? Frank will complain about getting a boo-boo on his head, oh, and it's not feeling better, I can't sleep, and oh, my digestion isn't good, I have a tummy ache, and I'm too stressed out, but then he'll claim that his diet gives him miraculous healing capabilities, like Wolverine from the X-Men. Cool story, Frank.
Some of you may remember I had some stomach issues related to Candida last year that have been on and off. My digestion has also been getting worse. I did get checked at the doctor. I even got an endoscopy, but everything has been cleared from a medical perspective.
So I think Frank is lying about having candida, he's lying about having digestive issues, and he's lying about going to see a doctor because Frank has a very long history of self-diagnosis and self-treatment and just plain lying. So Frank has made a video before about having candida where he never mentioned ever going to see a doctor. He strongly suggested in the video that he just self-diagnosed himself, and he also self-treated himself. He claimed that he tried to treat candida with a number of diets and dietary supplements.
I still had these problems. I couldn't figure out why I wasn't able to sleep. I had all of these issues. I tried things like only eating sweet potatoes for 2 days, didn't fix it. I tried fasting. I tried all of these things. I thought I might have had a parasite. I tried various cleanses with various supplements, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. So to be clear, I initially thought it was a histamine intolerance, and then I thought it could have been a parasite. I didn't really know it was candida until about a month and a half ago. So I thought it was all of these things until I realized the initial problem was candida overgrowth. So keep in mind, at this time, I didn't know it was candida. So I go on the Zero Carb Carnivore forum and I ask if anyone's had problems related to this. And they say, oh, it's because you eat all these organ meats. Stop eating the organ meats.
So the story Frank made up about having candida and having ongoing digestive issues from candida, it is complete BS. He's never had candida. Someone probably convinced him he had candida because he listens to random morons on online forums who have no medical training, and he did it again. In this video, he admitted to self-diagnosing and self-treating himself.
And then I had a hard time sleeping, heart palpitations, insomnia. Normally, I would just deal with it and not sleep, but I had a business meeting that next morning at 9 a.m. and it was already 5:30 a.m. without me getting any sleep. I figured it could be SIBO or Candida, and that I could just do a quick antimicrobial protocol to clear it out before the morning.
So again, this just further proves my point. Just because he had a headache and he was having trouble sleeping, he assumed that he had either Candida or SIBO, he self-diagnosed himself, didn't go to see a doctor, and he used a form of self-treatment that he believed would cure himself of Candida or SIBO within a matter of hours. Both of these infections take a matter of weeks to clear up with antifungal or antibacterial medications. So clearly, Frank has never had Candida or SIBO. He obviously doesn't even know what Candida or SIBO is if he believes he can cure these infections within a matter of hours. So, these digestive problems you're claiming you have, Frank? No, debunked. You're lying. Not true. So, let's move on to Frank's next excuse. Frank believes that he can't go to the gym because he's being bombarded by electromagnetic radiation.
Earlier this week, I was sleeping a couple hours a night, and later, towards the end of this week, I wasn't sleeping at all. High EMF environments, like the gym, impair all of your bodily functions, including sleep and digestion. If you're near a cell phone tower, you live in a city, everything's inhibited. Your brain function, your organ function, every single thing. Your digestion is slowed greatly. The radiation actually causes intestinal cells to dysfunction because it disrupts calcium pathways.
So Frank Tufano is lying once again, no surprise there. For one thing, the study he flashed on screen had nothing to do with EMF negatively impacting your digestion or overall biological system. The study mainly focused on EMF being used therapeutically for bone growth. The study did make mention of EMF possibly contributing to certain forms of cancer, but the research they referenced here wasn't particularly strong. It's mostly rodent or in vitro experiments, and there's some conflicting human research. On top of that, there isn't any good evidence that EMF exposure can cause any acute effects like headaches and sleeplessness. Here's a systematic review which analyzed the health effects of exposure to radio frequency electromagnetic fields from mobile phone base stations. Exposure to EMF didn't affect cognitive function, physiological measures. They also found no associations with cancer, and the authors concluded that their review does not indicate an association between any health outcome and radio frequency electromagnetic field exposure from mobile phone base stations at levels levels typically encountered in people's everyday environment. The evidence that no relationship exists between mobile phone base station exposure and acute symptom development can be considered strong according to the GRADE approach. So the chances that Frank is suffering symptoms like headaches, sleeplessness, digestive issues just because he's exposed to EMF, that's impossible. Zero chance of that happening, especially considering that Frank lives in New York, a very densely populated major city, and believe it or not, he does go outside. Frank has made videos on his channel about how he's worked in New York City restaurants all of his life. Currently, he works in a kitchen in New York for his meat delivery business. So how is it that you can live in New York City, you can go to these jobs in New York City, travel all around the city with no issues with EMF exposure, but as soon as you go to the gym, somehow your body just completely breaks down because you're exposed to EMF? What is special and unique about the gym you go to where EMF is just through the roof? It just makes your body break down, but you can go and work at restaurants, you can travel all around the city for your job, but yeah, the gym is just a no-go. So obviously, Frank is just BSing us here. There's no way EMF is affecting him, so his last excuse is he can't eat more food.
Me being in the gym every day this week requires me to eat more meals. So instead of my normal 1 meal per day, I've been eating 2 large meals per day. And I'm not 100% sure if the issue I had yesterday and this week was caused by all of these triggers, but eating more food and blasting yourself with EMF is a quick way to get stomach problems. So on Thursday night, I ate about a pound and a half of ground beef because I'm just craving protein all day when I work out. And then I had a hard time sleeping, heart palpitations, insomnia. Around 9:30 a.m., I got really nauseous, and for the first time in my life, projectile vomited all over the place. Just this really foul mixture of ground beef and these oils. This gave me a reality check on why I stopped lifting weights in the first place, partially because of the food volume. It is not conducive to health.
So Frank is now claiming that it is bad to exercise because if you exercise, you will have to eat more food in order to support that exercise, to get enough calories and nutrition to recover from that exercise. Frank, you have now proven that you know nothing about nutrition, nothing about health, nothing about fitness, and Frank, it's obvious why you're suffering from digestive issues. It's because you literally eat rotten, rancid, raw meat out of a frickin' jar.
This jar is just pureed beef liver. It's been sitting in this jar for about 3 weeks now. It's not too fermented, and it's fairly tolerable. This is one hell of a mix. This is a blend of pork brain. I have some adrenal glands in here from cattle. I have some thyroid glands, and I also have the thymus gland, the pancreas. And this has been sitting in the jar for 3 weeks, but the difference between these 2 jars, despite them both fermenting for 3 weeks, is this jar is fat-based. Fat ferments much differently. It gets very, I would say, rancid is a good word to describe it, but it's not technically rancid, so this is very putrid, to say the least. Oh man. The 2 times I went to open this in the fridge, it exploded. Oh God. That's up there with some nasty stuff I've eaten. This actually might be one of the most consistently nasty things that I've been eating, but it's all for nutrition.
So, Frank, it's pretty obvious. The reason you're having all these issues with the headaches, insomnia, digestive issues, the reason you're skinnier and weaker than vegan girls here on YouTube is because you starve yourself. You mentioned that you normally only eat 1 meal per day, so you're starving yourself, and then when you even do choose to eat, you eat literal garbage. So here's some advice, Frank. Rather than eating rotten garbage, throw the rotten garbage out in the trash, and then Eat some real food, maybe have a vegetable or two for a change, you know? And then maybe you'll be able to gain weight and be bigger and stronger than vegan girls. So it looks like Frank isn't interested in making any more fitness content. He recently made this post on his community tab and more people just trolled him. One person asked him to train to fight me in an MMA match. Well, I'd like to see you make more fitness content, Frank. I think it's hilarious. I love seeing you destroy your own credibility. It's funny how you make fun of vegans claiming we're all weak and malnourished, we're starving, we don't get enough nutrients, but here's Frank following his carnivore diet, which he claims makes him heal like Wolverine from the X-Men, and 1 week of just baby weight little girl training. Frank trains like a little girl. It just completely destroys his body. He can't handle it. That little bit of extra exercise just kills him. He can't even eat enough food to support himself. So yeah, keep making fitness content, Frank. I love it. So it's up to you, but I enjoy it. So, you know, if you enjoy it too, Frank, keep doing it. And if you like this video, maybe consider supporting me on Patreon or through my website. I have some funding perks you may find interesting. If you're looking for clothing, then check out the Vegan Gain store. And if you're looking for online coaching, then check out Quality Gains. He offers customized meal and workout programs. And as always, keep making those vegan gains.
What a relief! When will this poisonous product cease? This is another public service announcement. You can believe it or you can doubt it. Let us begin now with the cow. The way it gets to your plate and